Good evening. This is the planning board meeting agenda for November 15th, 2016. And this is being cable cast on, what is it? Oh, channel 58. Is it channel 58? Yeah, okay, yeah. I didn't have my paper to read. All right. If we could please stand to please. Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. All right, the first thing we have on the agenda tonight is a public hearing. Adriano Cimbron, modification of a special permit and definitive plan approval to adjust the location of the previously approved roadway layout by approximately 5 feet for Olympia's path off of High Street. All right, well, I know we discussed this at the last meeting.
Good evening. My name is Steve Katowski from Webby Engineering. As was stated in the public notification, the applicant had gotten a conservation subdivision approved last year and was in the process of constructing the roadway. We had staked out the center line of the roadway for their construction, and then at another point we came back and staked out where the drainage was. At another point we were asked to come back there when they're ready to pave and stake the edge of the actual gutter line of the pavement. At that point the field crew came back to our office and they indicated that they saw some concerns that the drainage seemed to have shifted slightly. So they located the actual structures that were out there on the ground, brought the information back to the office, and then we alerted the owner and the contractor, and we thought there was something wrong. Everything was within the layout, but everything was stated had shifted about 5 feet from where it was. Not really sure exactly what it was. The stakes appeared to have been run over. That's what the contractor had said, that maybe something had happened there. So rather than having them remove the drainage that had all been piped and backfilled and inspected and relocate it and try to shift everything over, we thought that the easiest thing to do would be to just change it on the plan, since we had the ability to do that. So we reconfigured the lots. Basically what we did is we moved the corner of the intersection of the roadway. The intersection originally had ended at the intersection of the two lot lines to the abutter, so at the existing perimeter. We just shifted that over 2.73 feet as shown on the plan, and then slightly angled, shifted the road so that it was, again, as close to what was originally proposed. And everything else stayed the same as far as the lots. The lots are changed slightly. Some of the interior lines separating the lots had shifted a little bit. They're all 30,000 square feet. We didn't change anything on the open space. We kept the line that was originally shown as separating between the developed portion of the subdivision and the open space the same. So we just basically reshifted some of the interior lot lines so that we can make sure that we had the 30,000 square feet, which is required in a conservation subdivision. So after we had our original meeting with the with the board to discuss the changes, the applicant, we went down and staked out where the realignment, the edge of the pavement was. He's actually gone and put his base coat down. We located again, just to be on the safe side, where the catch basins and drain manholes and outlet structures and things like that fell, just to make sure that everything was still the same and everything seems to be fitting now within this new layout of the road. So we haven't added any lots. We haven't changed any of the, really changed much of the area of the lots. It's pretty much the same, just a few things shifted to make it easier for him.
Any questions by any of the board members?
I know before we had talked about that road that originally, when you come out, it was going to face a house. Does this affect that at all? It's like the headlights, they're not going to go right.
It shifted, actually, the angle of it shifted this way. It was the house that was directly across, which was more perpendicular with High Street. So it actually shifts a little bit westerly on the alignment.
So it's not any closer to the house than it was before as far as the vision?
It shouldn't be, as far as, if it is, it's just so slightly, nothing really had changed that much. I mean, the
Okay.
centerline stakes that were out there, it was, you really can't even notice the difference. It was just really, because what would have been the big problem if we had left it and not done anything, it would have been when they had come and installed the sidewalk. That's when we would have noticed that the sidewalk was outside of the layout around the cul-de-sac. It probably would have been okay down in this area, but as soon as they started to kind of make around this bend, that sidewalk would have been on the lots and not within the layout, so everything kind of got shifted so that wouldn't be a problem in the future.
Okay, thank you.
Anybody else have any questions?
Of course, my question is, and the shift took place heading towards Kingston, not back up the other way, right?
Exactly.
Which way would that be?
It would be heading north,
So-
northeast,
Okay, so the shift is northeast, not to,
not towards an abutter, no.
Right.
Yeah. It actually favors the abutter 2.73 feet.
right.
Do you have any? Gee, I forgot the public hearing notice. Do I have to read that? Or I thought that I had read this before at the last meeting, but I probably didn't because we,
Right, so this is the opening of the public hearing. What you read on the agenda is the same language.
Okay.
If you could just read that it was the dates it was advertised
okay.
at the very bottom.
Okay, so it was advertised on October 28th and November 4th of 2016.
Yeah.
Now, if all the board members have asked their questions, I'll open this up to anybody in the audience that would like to, is there anything that you would like to ask the engineer?
Well, I have a couple of questions.
If you could give your name and address,
Oh,
please.
My name's Cliff Stanley. I live on 17 High Street, right next door to the new family that will be moving in. I have a question. It seemed apparent to me for quite some time, and we talked about this out in the field one day, that some of the people working there and doing things there did not know where my property line actually was. At the corner, up at the far corner. The stake was knocked over a couple times. The post that the original surveyor put in was buried.
It was run over.
Was run over and buried. And the trees along that borderline, the 15-foot buffer line that was on their property was cleared off. I had to walk out one day out there and stop the tree people from cutting trees that were actually on my property that were X'd off and I'm just wondering what was going on now, if you wanted to pull the road even closer to my property or what it was going. Obviously, it sounds like you're going 2.5 feet away from it, but I don't know what the plans are for the area that you did cut down that cannot be salvaged now. That originally when we first came here at these meetings, we talked about that. We talked about runoff from this place, and I was told at that time, if I remember correctly, the land wasn't going to be filled in. It wasn't going to be, the grade wasn't going to be higher and stuff like that. Looks like it's 4 or 5 feet higher than it was originally around that road, and what you're pulling all this fill in and laying out on the land now. Now, I don't know if that's going to affect a river going through my property or not, which you said it wouldn't and stuff like that, which you don't know till it's all done, but I'm concerned. I'm concerned about that whole thing.
To address his concerns, we had gone out and flagged the limit of clearing, and there was a flag that was at his lot corner, as he stated. The tree cutter did start in that location, figuring that was the limit of clearing to go to the lot corner instead of where we had marked it 15 feet beyond, which is what he's referring to as a buffer zone. They did go into this area, and I think they cut down a couple trees, but somebody had called our office, and we went out there immediately and then, kind of assessed where it was. We reflagged the line for the tree cutter. There did look like there was some cutting that went within this 15-foot buffer at the top, but it didn't go much beyond maybe 50 feet from the intersection of High Street. It was mostly up in this area. The remainder of the line is kind of defined by, there was an old stone wall, and then there was some stakes along the line, I think, that they had put in, and it didn't, to me, appear that they had cut anything that kind of served as screening between his property and where the construction was up, except for this area, like I said. So once it was brought to their attention, they stopped. There are some trees that they actually had intended to cut. They were marked, but they haven't cut those. They're going to leave those as they are. But he is right that they did get a little carried away up in this area here. As far as the grading of the road, we always knew that there would be that low spot that had to be elevated. You know, as you came down the road, and this was something we came before the board to discuss changing the profile, the layout of the road, we adjusted it so that it met more with the natural grade. We did have to fill in this low spot, but we always knew that had to come up, and I don't know about 4 feet, but it's probably 3 or 4 feet, which, again, once they removed the top 2 feet of loam, which, you know, is typical, you can't, you know, construct a road on the existing grade. They had to remove a couple of feet, so it probably looks like it's more fill than, you know, on the original grade, you know, compared to the original grade. But the remaining of it matches pretty close to what the existing grade is when you come from here to here, and on this side here, it is in this area. But I've been out there after it's rained, and it doesn't, to me, it doesn't look like there's any water that's coming off of the site, especially within the roadway. It looks, we get concerned about that, and every time we're working on a new development, when it rains, we go out there and check it out to see how things are working. And I'm actually, I shouldn't say I'm surprised, but I was surprised that none of the, this is more not for his concern, but any of the runoff within the cul-de-sac itself and the bioretention, everything is working very nicely within the catch basement area. As far as the neighboring properties and things like that, some of the grading that was shown on, I mean, some of the grading that's happened in here is preparation for when they're gonna start constructing some of the house lots. So it's sort of, he had some time to kind of prep the lots while he was waiting to go through this process. Again, he knew that, you know, those lots would, there was some small hills that would have to get cut down, and that's basically what he's done. But we've been out there on a few occasions and told him to remain as almost a natural berm along this property line. That seems to be, last time I was out there, it seems to still maintain as a berm. So I don't have any concerns that there's water that's gonna flow across this open area. None of the water is definitely sheeting off of the roadway and then coming across this open area now. And again, things are gonna change, because once they construct the house here and the house here, these front yards are gonna act as an additional berm. They're gonna bring in some material and kind of slope everything towards the proposed roadway. So I know, you know, again, it looks different now because, you know, you're used to seeing it wooded in elevations, yeah. But it's definitely not done, and I don't think anything, now that the material has been stripped off the top, anything is flowing towards your property. Now, am I incorrect about that?
No, it seemed, I just had to ask again because I've noticed a lot of fill and a lot of stuff being brought in, and I know the higher points, water runs off to lower points, and it seems like we are a low point next to that, which I brought up originally, which bothered me because I didn't want a river going through my backyard, because I never had a problem, even the heaviest rains. I never had an issue with the, you know, with anything rolling through the backyard out into the wetlands, which is lower at my property too, down at the end of my property. And we just worried that, you know, our little Eden there will be underwater at times, and we really love it there.
If the houses are, you know, placed where we have them proposed, you know, we've got them kind of close to the street so that the people have decent backyards, then everything should grade away from your property into the roadway as was proposed.
Okay. So that hasn't changed from the original plans. The grading's still the same.
Okay.
So everything should be, and that was what was approved at the beginning. So
Yeah.
everything should be okay.
I just didn't know it was an issue, and I don't see a lot of, after knowing that my boundary marker was not known where it was, and I think the issue was the town has a metal pipe in the ground there doing their boundary off the road with a ribbon on it. In fact, I think they've just done it again. there's been some new ribbons put on a bunch of metal pipes headed towards on my property. And I think originally they thought that might have been my marker, which it was like 20 feet farther towards them than what it was. So that just, you know, I was scratching my head wondering why all this stuff was being cleared and everything, and I'm thinking there's no 15 feet there anymore. But I have exceptionally large frontage on my property, and it's really hard to understand why that lot would have that much frontage, and I don't cut a lot of wood or wooded area on that side. I left a big buffer zone on my side also, which I thought with that other 15 feet would be pretty good, you know, but good break from the traffic of the headlights coming up around and the new neighbors, which I'm not against new neighbors at all, and building, I'm not against that. I just don't want them to be taking part of my land or getting into that point, you know.
So hopefully that won't happen.
Well, I know that one of the things that he asked us to do, the contractor asked us to do, was to give the limit of clearing for all the lots, including not just the roadway itself, but so that they could just come in and cut the trees once and be done with it. So I don't think they're gonna be back in there doing any additional tree cutting. I think they're all done with that. They're pretty much ready to start construction of the homes, and everything's been cleared out.
So there have been some trees that were cut down mistakenly, is that?
Up in this area, there were some trees within that 15-foot buffer, so yes, within about 50 feet back from High Street.
If you look real close, beyond my fence that's halfway down my plot line where the grade goes way up high, you'll find that it's not an issue as in next to my house, the 15-foot buffer zone, but to my land, there's an area up top there where the brick wall that was stolen a long time ago off that property, but you can still see it on the ground, the couple trees. There's a pretty tight area, close area there where they cut pretty tight to my property too, on the very back part of my lot. I'm sure it's not going to be an issue because they don't have anything cleared that way where there's going to be anything going there. But I'm just saying there was some measurement difficulties.
Sometimes that can happen.
Oh yeah, I'm sure it can.
Yeah,
I'm sure.
in any kind of development.
I just figure if I don't voice my opinion here, it will never be heard.
Sure.
So.
But as long as you're happy with what's done and what's been stopped doing, and you can live with
I
it.
had to walk out and stop the cutters,
Yeah, okay.
which I'm a local guy and I sell a lot of parts for people who are in construction around here and stuff, and I knew those guys. Minute I walked out there and stopped the guy running the machine, I said, that tree right there with the X on it is on my property, and you're gonna cut that next. Stop, and he shut the thing down and said, I'll contact the guy who's doing it, I'll contact my boss, and they stopped, which was good. But,
Okay.
you never get those trees, couple trees that were there, big ones too, got a couple good pines. You'll never get those back, so.
I guess my question is, are there any plans to put anything where the area is cleared out, or is that something?
I would say that's up to you folks, right?
I mean, is that some?
Well, the only thing I was thinking was some type of growth that the other abutter is getting near his house. They're putting some Arborvitaes?
Arborvitaes.
Yeah, something up that grows in his bushy or something, to just kind of put a border up there again. Wouldn't hurt. I just, I don't know, I don't.
What, in that 50-foot from the street to
The
back
street
where
down
there's
a bit, yeah, it wouldn't be bad. I mean, it's,
Can we do something like that?
I don't think my client would be opposed to that. I don't, how you could, I can say that it would make the board happy and communicate that to him, and, we can see where that goes, if that's
Okay.
what we want to try.
I don't want to ask for a fence
Gentleman
or
and neighborly
anything
about
like
this.
that,
I could tell him that, maybe 3 every 15 feet on center, coming back from the street.
Just something to market, so,
Okay.
I mean, originally when we all met, originally, there was something, they said that it would go in the contract or whatever about that 15 feet, Now, once they sell all this property and the people move in that own this land, what's gonna stop them from cutting right up to the quick? Too, is it anything gonna stop them, or is there something in that, in the
Is it in the deed
purchase and
that
stuff in the deed? I
eventually would
thought
be
they
in the
said
deed for the
something about
lots?
that
It might be
happening.
in one of the covenants, I don't know if it's in
One
the
of the
deed, but
covenant.
I might have been, I'm pretty sure that when it was approved, there were some specific conditions for approval because of the neighbors' concerns. I think when Jack had written the original conditions for approval, that there were some specific things in there that dealt with the neighbors' concerns.
Well, that's a good question for
Well, on the plan. we're-
Marlene then, right?
Yeah.
I'm glad that he brings that up. So if there are established boundary lines and there is an established buffer, where does that go from the property being sold to the individual homeowners?
So this plan is not recorded yet, but, so when the plan is recorded, that setback, that buffer will be recorded. It's shown on the plan, it's shown on the Mylar, and then if there is encroachment in there, you can enforce that through your special permit. So everyone's put on notice once it's recorded as part of their due diligence. But until a plan is recorded, it's not real.
But on the plan, it shows a 15-foot no-cut buffer.
Yeah.
And we have a 25-foot rear yard setback. Oh, that's the setback for the buildings. Okay, so you got a 15-foot no-cut buffer. So if they did cut up to 50 feet, if we could do the arborvitae's, since that was a no-cut buffer area, if we could do that would be good. So we'd have to do that.
I can put that in as a condition.
As
For
a
the modification, yeah.
Okay. So,
At the very least, at least replace what mistakenly shouldn't have been cut.
all right, do you have any other questions? Anybody else in the audience have any other questions? Seeing no other people stepping forward, I could entertain
The motion of,
motion.
close
Yeah,
the public hearing.
Public hearing, yeah.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
Have a motion, a second to close public hearing. Those in favor? Aye. All right, and we can approve the plans for the subdivision with the condition of the arborvitae's.
Motion to approve with the stated conditions for the arborvitae's to go in that first 50-foot area off High Street.
Second.
We have a motion, a second. Those in favor?
Aye.
So when are they gonna start building the first homes there?
Well, I think that's kind of the next step. We're gonna have to make an appointment with you folks to come back once this plan's recorded and get the lots released. I think that Marlene sent me an email today with the form to have us fill out once this is put on record. So, I guess we'll be coming back in a few weeks to, request that they can release some of the lots. But
Okay.
I know he's filed for building permits on a few of them. I think it's lots 2, 3, 4, and 5. He's applied for building permits, and I think 5 and 3 has potential buyers on, and he wants to build 3, 4, and 5
Okay.
right away because the 4th one is the affordable
Okay.
inclusionary. I mean.
So we don't have a date to,
So, when you have to file your decision from tonight with the town clerk. Then there's the appeal period that has to run. And then,
20 days. right?
yep, and then the applicant has to record the plan at the registry. And that'll give you the plan book and page and date that they need to put on their request for release.
Okay. So it won't happen until at least 20
Yeah,
days from
after
now.
that, so we don't get a signed plan tonight then.
Okay.
Okay,
They'll sign the plan tonight, because you
Okay.
have to,
And then we
you
can
need a
record
signed
the-
plan to
yeah.
record.
okay. I didn't know if we had to wait till after the 20 days. 'Cause
No.
doesn't the clerk have to sign?
The clerk will have to give you an affidavit,
Okay,
but you go back and get that, but you'll get your you can pick up your signed plan tomorrow.
all right. Okay. Thank you.
Okay,
Is there gonna be a staked out area where all the foundations are gonna go in before they just put them in there? So maybe I can just see where they're gonna be?
That's what he's asked me to do. I suggested that he wait until after tonight, till the actual property line that changed would be finalized, and then we can go in and stake out the houses.
So there will be some stakes out
Yeah,
there?
we're gonna be staking out those
for the
3 houses, within a couple of weeks.
Excellent.
Yeah,
Very good.
okay, thank you.
okay, thank you.
See you both.
Thanks, guys.
Okay,
Good night.
Did you want one of these plans to look at, or? He can't take one of these, you want to take a plan home?
He can we have plenty of copies.
Oh, okay. Do we have to sign these tonight, though?
He doesn't need a signed one. He can
Okay.
just take one.
And we, okay.
I just want to match up to the one I got a year and a half ago, because it seems like things have changed.
Yep.
Thank you very much.
Okay, you're welcome.
Have a good night.
Good night. Okay, the next we have is something new. It's another public hearing for Corvette Mike New England LLC for a special permit, site plan review and sign permit to allow retail motor vehicle sales with outdoor display and motor vehicle repair shop in a general business district at 74 North Main Street. And I'll read the public hearing notice for this. In accordance with the provisions of the Town of Carver zoning bylaw, the Carver Planning Board will hold a public hearing on November 15th, 2016 at 7 in the Carver Town Hall, Meeting Room 4, on the application for Corvette Mike New England LLC requesting a special permit, site plan review, and sign permit pursuant to sections 2200, 3100, 3500, and 5300 of the Carver zoning bylaw, located at 74 North Main Street in Carver, Mass. Assessors Map 8-12-3-R to allow a retail motor vehicle sales with outdoor display and motor vehicle repair shop in a general business district. Any persons interested in wishing to be heard should appear at the time and place designated. A copy of the plan is on file at the Planning Board office and may be reviewed during normal business hours. Carver Planning Board, Bruce Mackey Chair, published dates October 28th and November 4th of 2016. Good evening.
How you doing? Bill Madden from JF Engineering here for Corvette Mike. Also with me is Mike Grande. He's Mike from Corvette Mike. I have some half sizes if you'd prefer to look at those as opposed to the large plan. They just brought them for
Sure.
convenience sake.
Yep.
If that's something that you'd like.
I got one next one here.
You got an extra?
I'm good, I have mine.
Okay, essentially what we're doing is just repurposing the existing facility at 74 North Main Street. It was the previous pool business that is now out of business. And Corvette Mike has the property under agreement, and it's his intention to bring his business from Plymouth to Carver. It's right on Route 58. I think you're all familiar with the site. The project's relatively straightforward. Really, it doesn't involve too much as far as site improvements go. The site is really perfect for what Mike intends to do here. The existing conditions plan that we prepared, it varies a little bit from the previous plan that was approved for the pool facility. And nothing of any great magnitude there. There's just some activities that took place, a couple of storage containers on the, the west side of the building. There's a fuel tank, there's some air handling equipment here, and that's pretty much it. The pool display area was over here on this westerly side as well. And what we're looking to do is reuse some of that area. So effectively, there's no impervious area being added. There's no building expansion being proposed. There's nothing more than really utilizing the interior space for a showroom and a motor vehicle repair shop. Motor vehicle repair shop is really for the customers of the dealership, and it's by appointment only. It's not a drive-in, quick lube, oil change. It's very specific to by appointment only for the current customers, people that have purchased vehicles from Corvette Mike in the past. So that was that's really what's going on there. So this plan here just essentially divides up the building. There's an existing wall on the inside of the building. I think what happened originally was, I'm not certain what they considered the rear portion of the building. I think it might have been warehousing at one point and retail sales in the front part. So it was approximately 5,800 square feet of building in the front part. That would be the vehicle display area, the inside vehicle display area. There's approximately 3,100 feet in the rear. That would be the motor vehicle service area. There's an overhead garage door that on the original plans was indicated to be constructed and placed on this side of the building, but currently it's on the back side. So that works fairly well for the operation of the facility. The driveway and the curb cut on 58 is adequate for what we need to have for vehicular circulation on the site. And we can allow vehicles to come back here. There's a gate that exists here, paved parking down here, crushed stone up in this area, but it allows someone to come to the back to the service area to drop their vehicle off. You can drive it inside the building. One of the things that we recognized that we went to the site originally is that under today's plumbing code, any building with an overhead garage door requires a floor drain to be installed in it. That's in the event that a vehicle can find its way into a building, that the plumbing code requires a floor drain to be placed there. So in the absence of municipal sewerage, we have to place a non-hazardous waste holding tank in the back of the property. So what we did is we designed a small 10-inch floor drain that would be in the front portion of the service bay, and then we indicate where we place our underground tank for the storage of any waste that finds its way into that floor drain. The details of the plumbing, details of the tank are shown on the plan. This work does fall within the 100-foot buffer zone to the border of vegetated wetland that's out in the back, and what we've done is we filed with conservation. We filed a request for determination with them. I had a discussion with Brooke, and she was fairly confident that that was the proper approach, given the fact that we're separated from the wetland and the buffer zone by a stone or a retaining wall that's probably better part of 4 feet high. There's really no opportunity for any adverse impact to the resource area or the buffer zone to result, just due to the nature of the site, the way it's developed right now. So effectively, that's the only work that we have that's going on the site, is the installation of that holding tank, and it's as it's required. We also show our project sign. There is an existing area in the front, just basically centrally located to the front of the building where the sign was, and we've shown a sign, detailed it on the plan, that pretty close to what the requirements are by zoning for the sign. I think we're restricted to height to 10 feet. We're showing the sign height is a little over 7 feet. I think we're also required to have a sign of about 10 square feet in surface area on two sides, on each of two sides. So what we've shown is what we're looking at. It's roughly 3 by 3 area of sign that's shown exactly the sign that's in the current facility in what we plan to duplicate at this facility. Excuse me. So since we have a change of use from the retail type of sales of pool equipment to motor vehicle sales, we're required to come before you for a special permit and also for site plan review. So that's really what motivated us to come here. We'd like to come anyway, but we had to come by virtue of the zoning bylaw. So that brings us here tonight. So essentially, we're looking at perhaps outdoor storage for 5 vehicles on the area that's currently consists of brick pavers. And that's where they had a pool set up there once before. It's fenced in. We thought that we could take advantage of the fencing. We also show some gates on the fenced area, predominantly for emergency access to the site. We propose to deliver a vehicle to those areas is actually drive it in the back, through the back area, and get them between the gate and park those 5 there. Additional 3 spaces over to the, I guess, to the easterly side of the site. And those would be seasonal outdoor storage spaces. We're not going to put a vehicle out there in the winter months, but certainly the summer months we'd be using those for display areas. We also indicate an area where about 13 existing parking spaces are, and I've just noted those as potential vehicle display areas in the event that there's quite a bit of inventory. You'd like to put some vehicles outside there, but you know, the bulk of them, 20 to 25 or so, would be stored inside the building in that 5,800 square foot front area. So we think the site really the site functions perfectly for what they want to do over there. If you've been to the place in Plymouth, it's really a fraction of the size of this facility. And if you see how well organized that place is, how neat and clean it is, I think that we can mirror the same activities occurring over here as time goes on. So it just really fits well for Mike. So essentially it's a repurposing of this site for a different use. I think that it'll fit good with the community. It'll take a building that really is not being, it's being underutilized now, drive a little more tax base. He doesn't have a tremendous amount of employees that'll be working there. There's probably, you know, I think 3 or 4 sales and 1 serviceman that'll handle the by appointment only repairs. So we're kind of modest with the number of employees that we have there. And I think it's a relatively low impact type of business. I think it's a good location for it and should work out very well in the town. And that's pretty much what I have on the project.
Thank you. Do you have any comments, Marlene, about this?
I actually don't have very many. There's no site work, no grading, no change in impervious surface, no change to the drainage design, so no engineering review. I do have a note from the conservation agent that the tight tank that was referred to is scheduled on their November 30th agenda, so that's moving forward. The parking's adequate, the curb cut is existing, no proposed changes to that, so traffic and circulation is no big deal.
It's all going to be the same.
And you move a lot of your cars in at night too, anyways, right?
Oh, yeah. And the dumpster's still there. I mean, that's the original dumpster, and the snow
There's a fenced-in area there.
is
The dumpster.
the snow area is the same as it was before.
Correct.
What sort of I guess the conservation probably asked us too. You're going to have oil, or what kind of chemicals or stuff do you store? Whether it be inside, outside, or
What the intentions are is to put a waste oil heater in the shop. So that'll take up all of our waste oil. And the other chemicals that we have to get rid of, we will get rid of either with Safety Clean or Clean Harbors, and have that done on a regular basis.
and those are all stored inside the buildings.
Correct.
Okay.
Nothing outside.
And that's what this tight tank is for, in case oil or something got spilled on the floor, and then it would go into the drain.
It's more to do with snow and ice on a vehicle driven in for service
Oh, okay.
in the winter. Really, you don't want to get into a routine pumping of that. It's just very expensive to deal with. So I think the plan that they currently use as far as individual stains or small amounts of spillage that you might have on the floor, speedy dry, containerize it, put your rags in the container, similar that you do it
Okay.
at a marina or a any other automotive place and just store those small containerized waste containers and have them taken care of by Clean Harbors or hazardous waste handler.
Anybody on the board have any additional
I just have one
questions?
question for them. Does the fire department have to take a look at it because of the change of use?
The fire department has received the copies of the plans, and they're familiar with the building and everything, so they're okay with it.
Good.
Yeah, we have a letter that we submitted for the record from our fire protection consultant indicating how it complies with current code status now. I think that it's something that I think we're waiting to see if there were any other comments during the comment period that we would have to respond to. But we're a little proactive on that. It's a big money item if we had to do something down there. So we felt that it was appropriate to deal with it early on in the project and come up with a code position on it, which is what we have done, and submitted that as well as part of the administrative file.
For myself, I think it's a great use of space. I can't believe you'd want to leave Plymouth to come to Carver, but the location of Route 3 and 44 is ideal where you are, but it's the space that you're looking for, huh?
The space, yeah. No.
Great.
And our business isn't a drive by where you pull in and say, I want to buy that car. All of our business, 90% of it starts online. And we sell cars over the world, over the country, so, but the building is what,
Well, I'm sure my
And the
grandson and I
area.
will be down there often looking.
I don't trust. We make dreams come true.
Maybe me more than him.
I just had a quick question on the 3 vehicles up, I guess, in the most northern part. On the, so that's gonna go on the grass? And as far as how far off the road they have to be type thing, is there?
So the dealership will also need the license from the Board of Selectmen, and they usually get into those details.
Okay.
So
We're more than building, right?
right, so under zoning, those are not considered structures,
Okay.
so they don't need to be, they don't need to maintain a setback, but that'll be something that for the dealership license, the selectmen will regulate.
And then the potential vehicle display, or those are the existing parking spots that are on that far side of the lot, right?
Correct, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, we think, well, it's pretty apparent that the 12 spaces that we have up there are certainly going to be adequate for the use.
Okay, that looks great.
And then the last thing I would suggest is I would make that sign as big as you possibly can make it under the guidelines, If you can make it a little bit bigger, make it a little bit bigger so that you don't have to go to the trouble to come back. Make it all right now, as
it now.
big as you can, off the bat, right?
It's pretty much maxed out.
Okay.
Well, I mean, while we're talking about the sign, I thought that when I was reviewing the regulations that, there was a standard of 10 square feet, 10
Yes.
foot high. But isn't there an opportunity under the special permit to actually place a larger sign?
Well, you can apply for a separate special permit for internally lit or for dimensional relief as another special permit. But the sign that as designed now meets your bylaw without a special permit.
And that sign that we put on the plan is pretty much indicative of the sign that exists at the site in Plymouth now. We thought just adding a little eyebrow over the top, wanted to demonstrate to you how we propose to light it. So I think that we went through the bylaw to check it out to see how.
Gooseneck lighting?
Yes.
No, I think that'll work well.
One thing, what are the hours of operation or proposed?
We open from this time of year, 9 to 6. In the summer, 9 to 7. Friday and Saturday, 9 to 5, and closed on Sundays.
Any other questions before I open it up to the public? Is there anyone here that would have any questions or comments? Seeing none, we could close the public hearing.
Make a motion to close public hearing.
Have a motion
Second.
and a second. Those in favor? Aye. And, boy, it's great to see this place being used again. Every day I go by it and oh gee, I mean, it was such a nice, it's a nice building and it's been nicely landscaped, and it's great to see somebody come in and take this and use it again. So I'm happy to see you come into town.
Thank you.
And,
We're happy to come in.
and it's nice to see that being used. So, we don't really have any other conditions or anything else?
You want to just, so if you want to talk about conditions, I can certainly add those, I can certainly add those. If you don't have any conditions, you can, I'll write up a decision based on approved as per plans, essentially. So just let me know if you want any conditions.
Is that all right with
That's
board
fine.
members?
So we don't need to make a motion to
Oh, yeah, you-
accept it as written?
Yeah, so you would make a motion to just accept it as,
I'll make a motion to accept it as
presented, yeah.
Second that.
We have a motion and a second, those in favor?
Aye.
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 Oh, thank you.
Welcome.
Welcome to Carver.
Go to it.
Thanks very much for your time, appreciate it.
Okay, thank you very
Good
much.
night.
Second subdivision. Rock and roll. Coach.
It's my secret weapon.
He's just so big.
All right, the next thing we have on our agenda is a discussion. William Brothers, Inc. preliminary subdivision plan for a proposed 10-lot conservation subdivision off of High Street. It's map 30-10-6 and 7S, with a proposed layout of Ewell Street under Chapter 41, Section 81L. And this was filed with the town clerk November 1st, 2016. And so here we are tonight. Did you want to make some comments about this, Marlene?
So you have received in your packet, you have received a request for continuance, if you want to consider that.
So I guess what you're saying is that,
It looks like this, Bruce, it'll be before your signs.
okay.
No, keep going.
Keep going back?
Keep going back.
Okay, here it is, okay. Okay, it says, on behalf of Jack Williams Brothers, we are requesting a continuance of the hearing pertaining to the preliminary subdivision submittal for the 10-lot Gilbert Estates Conservation Subdivision located off of High Street. Gilbert Estates, which is scheduled to be heard at the planning board's meeting on November 15th. We wish to have this hearing continued to the next planning board meeting. So we could just table this and we could schedule this to the next hearing. Or if we do have some people here, if you just want to kind of look at this for a few minutes, have them go over this. How do you?
They're here, but they're asking for a continuance?
Maybe you might want to
Yeah,
explain. If you give us your name
I'm
and,
Katie Connery. I'm an engineer with Stan Tech. I'm here on behalf of Jack Williams from Williams Brothers. When we submitted the continuance yesterday, Jack's attorney was not able to come to attend tonight. And then since then, we decided, based on our schedules, to come instead without the attorney here. So I hope that's okay. We can still open the hearing and discuss it.
sure, I didn't have a,
It's not, it's a
It's not a-
preliminary plan.
yeah, it's not a
public
public
hearing. There's,
Always.
no, I'm sorry?
I'm sorry, it was not a public hearing. I'm calling it a hearing.
So you don't have a hearing notice
Mm-hmm.
because your subdivision rules and regulations don't require notice or advertising for preliminary plans. For the definitive plan and special permit, it will. So it's a discussion. You can certainly have it at your,
If you quickly want to go over it, I think since you're here, and if you just want to take a few minutes to go over it, I don't think,
I'm not opposed.
yeah, it's just so we can see what you have.
Okay, so this is the preliminary subdivision submittal for a 10-lot conservation plan that we had submitted back in 2005 to the Planning Board and the Conservation Commission. And the whole project got put on hold then over some sand rights. It went to court over sand rights. Since then, all the legal issues have been resolved and now we're back. So our preliminary submittal included this 14-sheet set. It has a 10-lot, a conventional yield plan and a 9-lot conventional yield plan and a 10-lot conservation.
This already exists, right?
No.
This isn't the one that already
Everything was put on
exists?
hold. It was just preliminary back in 2005 and then put on hold, so now we're back again. So we submitted these plans, stormwater report, and stormwater calculations. We also had filed with the Conservation Commission at the same time. That is on for November 30th. This is the next for conservation. It's a 26-acre parcel. This is High Street here, Route 44, cut through the rear of the lot, leaving access to the site off of High Street here. It's 26 acres. We're proposing a conservation subdivision on 15 acres. These 10 lots here that we're proposing. Let's flip to the existing conditions real quick. All undeveloped land. There's bogs abandoned. Most of the bogs here have been abandoned. Now, with you probably have the 3-page letter that I submitted with these plans here. Just going to run through these quickly. It outlines the utilities, the proposed utilities, and the 2 waivers we're requesting. We're proposing, when we jump to the conservation. The conservation plan shows 10. So each lot can be served by a private septic and private drinking water well. There were test pits done back in 2005. Lot lines and the layout of the lots where the septic, the well, and the house go have changed. So some of these septic systems don't align with the test pits. So as design continues, we understand that we'll have to do more test pits. We anticipate sandy soils, fast perk rates. We are proposing a water main, a dry water main, and 2 hydrants in case the town has future plans to expand their water system. The electric, cable, and television wires are overhead on High Street. We're proposing 1 utility pole. The rest of these utilities will be underground there. All the homes will have their own private heating system, oil or propane, because there's no natural gas in High Street. The stormwater system includes catch basins, deep sump catch basins, and 2 subsurface leaching systems. One in the middle of this, it's a 600-foot road here. 1 leaching system here and 1 subsurface leaching system here. The 2 waivers that will be needed for this conservation subdivision. One is the right-of-way right here, the radius of the right-of-way. The town requires a 40-foot minimum, and due to the limited access for this property, there's this property line right here, and we have a abandoned bog, wetland. We can provide we're proposing a 25-foot radius of this right-of-way. The town requires a 30-foot minimum radius of the edge of pavement. That we are meeting. We're meeting that 30-foot radius for the edge of pavement. It's just we're requesting a waiver for the right-of-way. So that we can get this road in here. This is determined as the best point of access here with the least impacts to the wetlands. There's the second waiver. I forget which section, there's a section of the rules and regs that require, it has to do with this culvert here. There's an existing 15-inch culvert. We're proposing to extend that so that we can build the road. This is an intermittent stream that's been man-made, dug, that drains, feeds water into the bogs over on this property. So back in 2005, we had gone to Army Corps and Conservation. They approved a design of an extension of this culvert before in the work to build this road. The town rules, the subdivision rules and regs require additional drainage calculations and head wall design, and we're requesting a waiver to not do any more additional drainage calculations for this intermittent stream. We have done the drainage calculations for the entire subdivision, pre and post conditions, and that has been submitted. So, so that just was through the letter that went along with these plans. Was it last Thursday, Marlene reviewed the plans and submitted a memo. You guys probably have that in your packet. Based on her view of the subdivision rules and regs, I'm going back to the conventional yield. The way she views the rules and regs, the lot 7, the rear lot here in the conventional, she feels is not valid. So for the conventional yield. So today we revised this conventional yield plan to show the same number of lots, but no rear lot. So here are 9 lots that meet the rules and regs, the dimensional requirements. The roadway is the same, the grading is the same on the roadway, the stormwater system is the same. I eliminated the rear lot by revising lot 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9, the lot lines. So all these lots have a minimum of 60,000 square feet, minimum frontage of 150, meets the minimum front, rear, and yard setbacks. The lot width at the building line is 120 feet, and the minimum upland is met, and the minimum lot width from the front setback line to the rear house line is that meets 75-foot minimum. So this is the 9-lot conventional yield, where all 9 lots are meeting the dimensional requirements, no rear lot, thereby allowing the 10-lot conservation subdivision, which includes that 1 inclusionary lot, bonus lot. So that was, I just submitted that today to Marlene, and I'm sorry, I should have given this to you earlier today.
That's okay.
That was the 3, promised you, the 3 full-size plans.
So you haven't had time to review this?
Not yet, no.
So,
Yeah, that was just sent, this plan was just sent today.
so what are our responsibilities as far as looking at this? Are we here to make suggestions or to approve or disapprove of things? Or?
So a preliminary plan is, a preliminary plan is guidance from the board when they move forward into designing their definitive plan. You can't record a preliminary plan, you can't appeal it, it's guidance. You do have some time. We can certainly talk about it again. I would like to review these revisions and get back to you on that. Now, the whole point of a preliminary plan is that you kind of work out some of the issues beforehand, so the definitive plan it can go faster without doing everything at the definitive stage. So if the rear, I will take a look at these certainly and get back to everyone with my comments on the redesign. If the rear lot has been removed and lot 7 can be accommodated under the zoning minimums, then that lot would not need to be dropped from the plan. Now, a conservation subdivision, as you know, we just saw with Olympia's Path, requires a special permit, and the permit triggers the requirement for the inclusionary unit. So on Olympia's Path, lot number 4, I believe, was the inclusionary unit, and it's 15% based on the conventional yield plan. So for Libby's Path, it was 1, and for this plan, it will also be 1. You don't round up until you pass 1.5. So at the definitive subdivision and special permit stage, the inclusionary portion of your bylaw allows a bonus lot, essentially, to be added to the subdivision to offset that inclusionary requirement. So everything is driven by the conventional yield plan, and as long as that meets all of the zoning minimums, then the definitive plan and special permit can add 1 lot in order to accommodate the inclusionary. So that's why you'll see the difference in the number of lots between the yield and the definitive and the proposed cluster plan. It's because of that added inclusionary. So really, just give me a chance to review this. We can bring it back to your next meeting, and as long as the yield plan meets all the minimums, then that's the number of lots allowed by right, and that's what you go off of. If you have any concerns about the intersection or the layout or anything, now would be the time to talk about it. So I'm not seeing anything that doesn't meet your standards. Everything, there's been 2 very minor waivers requested. Everything else is designed to your standards, so I really don't see that you would have any major problems with this. The dry main is proposed per your regulations with the hydrant assemblies. The site distances on High Street are good.
Okay, I was interested in that.
So it is scheduled. The preliminary is scheduled with the Conservation Commission. It'll be on their agenda for the 30th. Your next agenda is the 29th. So if you want to put it back on your 29th agenda, it's entirely possible that you could give the Concom an answer by their meeting on the 30th, if you're satisfied. But since it's a preliminary, we really want to hear any of your, anything that might be jumping out at you as what might need extra attention.
Well, the only thing I was concerned about was the waivers, if they were realistic or not.
Yeah, the waivers are very minor.
Okay. Anybody else? Jim, did you?
That's my question on that first waiver, that to go from 40 to 20 is not a big deal.
It's the layout. So the pavement width will be fine, but it's the layout radius so the layout on that side will just be, you won't have as much space between the edge of the pavement and edge of the layout, but the radius will still function properly.
Okay, so that won't affect traffic going in and out. Okay.
And that waiver can be asked for legally because of the topography of the wetlands and the entrance of the...
So the waiver will come at the actual waiver you grant at the definitive stage. You're not approving anything at preliminary.
Right.
So, but you can grant reasonable waivers to your rules and regulations. What you're thinking of with the topography is a variance under zoning.
Yeah, right.
So we're not in zoning world, we're in subdivision world. So it's in your opinion as the planning board that this is a reasonable waiver to accommodate construction. So you can't waive any of the zoning. You can't waive frontage, lot width, lot size. You can't waive any zoning. You can waive your construction requirements in your subdivision rules and regulations.
Okay.
We touch zoning.
Not zoning world.
All right. That's
How
good.
far down High Street is this?
Brook Street is,
it's near
Brook Street is the
yeah,
street just under the bridge of 44?
Yeah, yep. Mhm.
Okay. So it's just before Brook Street?
Just east of the Brook in the Route 44 intersection. Up there in Pleasant, right here, there's Pleasant, Brook, and High.
Okay.
Snap-it road down here.
Okay.
Oh, that helps.
Just want to get an idea when I drive down that road, what I'm looking at.
How far away from the existing,
I
from
think
that
the High
Lindy's
Street
is that?
number is around 100. I don't think it's like 118.
Further.
118, okay. Yeah. So, yeah.
So Jim asked how far it is from the Limbia's Path, and it is a way east of Limbia's Path. So if you're going down High Street from 58, Limbia's Path will be on your right, and then this site, you'll pass the Brook Street intersection.
Past the Cranberry Bog on the left.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's,
Yep.
right, yeah.
What is lot 8?
Lot
Is that just
8.
open?
Which one are you looking at? I'm sorry.
There'll be a separate
oh, yeah.
access into that.
No, this is a rear lot in the conservation subdivision,
Okay.
So
not the conventional. This is,
right, so the rear lots will be redesigned. The rear lots under your zoning, so my memo about the rear lots is, under your zoning code, you allow these as long as there's no division after May of 1998, I think. And since you're doing a division of a property now, I'm saying that rear lots are actually only allowed as A&R plans. They're not allowed as part of a definitive plan. So at the definitive special permit stage, a rear lot will have to be, a rear lot is not eligible for a definitive plan. So your plans are showing those rear lots with the 40-foot frontage. And your special permit, your conservation subdivision special permit requires all lots to have at least 50 feet of minimum frontage. So that is something that can be redesigned in the future.
So there's nothing proposed to be built on this then?
Well, so on that plan, it's showing 10 lots.
Right.
And yes, that plan is proposing that Lot 8 be a house lot.
Okay. Oh, it's just the access right here?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
But it's my opinion that in the future, at the next stage, that'll have to be redesigned as part of the special permit definitive filing to meet your minimum standards under zoning for a lot to be done as part of a subdivision.
Okay.
oops, I just dropped
I
it.
got that.
Yeah.
'Cause it's just kind of, I didn't see that.
I did want to mention that we received the Fuss and O'Neill comments as well, the peer review on these preliminary plans. And they had some questions on the stormwater, and most of it had to do with stormwater and erosion. The first one, which was probably their biggest, was prior to a subsurface leaching system, the Mass DEP requires 45% removal of total suspended solids, TSS. And so we'll need another pre-treatment device prior to the subsurface leaching systems, and we will incorporate one of the approved pre-treatment, whether it be a storm scepter or some other device. Fuss and O'Neill also mentioned they didn't receive one of the appendices of the HydroCAD.
It was one file, so.
Yeah.
And they got the
It
whole
was in there,
file.
yeah.
Okay.
So I know it was in there, I
Okay.
checked, yeah. And then they asked for the SWIP, O&M, and stormwater reports. They did receive the O&M and stormwater. The SWIP is not prepared yet. That will be prepared later, prior to any construction. Then they have some comments regarding the site plans. And again, all these issues will definitely be addressed in the definitive subdivision plans. They want the limit of clearing shown on more of the plans, rather than just we had a erosion control plan that showed the limit of clearing. They want that on other additional plans. The construction entrance, more details on sort of consistency on the erosion control. I guess we mentioned the compost filter tubes. And then also on another plan, we mentioned silt fence, we call it out as, but had a detail for. So that will be consistent in the definitive. During construction, they want to make sure the catch basins are protected with silt sack inlet protection systems. Some more details on the grass quality swales. They want construction sequence. So a lot of these, I'm sure, will be covered during the conservation hearing. And these will be addressed for sure during the next revision of the plans.
So we should schedule this for the next meeting?
Yeah, I think.
So when you review the
Yep.
the plans. Okay.
And then we can send back in, you can send back any final comments you have, and everything can be incorporated for the definitive filing.
Okay.
So the next meeting is the 29th. And you don't have to do any, I mean, you don't have to continue it or anything, it's not a hearing, just,
Do we have to vote on it?
nope, nope.
Okay, so
You
we'll
can
just move this off to the 29th. So we'll see you the 29th.
Great.
Okay,
Thank you.
Okay,
good.
thank you.
Thank you for your time.
All right, we do have a sign permit for Dunkin' Donuts at 300 Tremont Street.
And I think they told me they were not able to make it tonight, but if you had any, if you needed any changes, they would make them and send it back to you for the next meeting. But it's pretty much their standard sign package, and it does meet all of your dimensional requirements in the bylaw.
And this is at the new Dunkin' Donuts in North Carver?
No,
or
no,
this
this is Tremont Street in South Carver.
Oh, okay, oh, okay. Just down the
It's
street.
world for us.
Yeah, yeah.
What did you say?
It's like the other side of the world
The
for
other
us.
side of the world for you?
Still Carver down there?
No,
No.
I
So
think
what,
it's Plymouth.
so what do they have now?
It's vacant, they have a vacant store in there, I believe. There's a dentist in the plaza.
Oh, so this is, yeah, I'm not,
This is
so this is
to the point.
way down, yeah, okay, this is South Carver, okay.
Erickson's.
Yeah,
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 almost across from Erickson's.
I see.
So they're moving from what they're existing in that plaza?
No, they're in there already.
Right.
They're there, they're just looking to upgrade their sign.
Oh, or do they have any sign at all there?
I think they just
They got an
want,
old one, yeah, you can see it.
they have an old one, they want to put in new signs.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Gotcha.
Anytime anybody updates their signs, I like it. We have a nice new sign there, and
Who's
So-
spoken?
as long as it meets all the dimensional requirements and all the zoning. Anybody on the board have any questions or comments?
No, I don't.
Do we have a motion?
Great, good.
And we have a second sign too to look at, right?
Yeah.
Yes, you do have another address, but
But
is
we'll
every...
vote on this
Yes,
first.
please.
Make a motion to accept the sign permit for Dunkin' Donuts in Tremont Street.
Second that.
Have a motion and a second, those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And then we have a second sign, and the second sign is for sign permit off-premises directional signs for Waterstone Plaza.
So your off-premises signs for directional signs are limited to 3 square feet. And Waterstone Plaza is up in North Carver, almost in Plimpton, the old Shaws. And they would like to put these signs, there's a picture here, they want to put them at the ramps from 44.
Is that Mass Highway property?
No, it would actually be in the town, well, The jurisdiction is,
It's kind of funky over there.
the jurisdiction is funny.
Because we did, dealt with New England Farms over there.
Yeah, the jurisdiction is funny. I believe you're okay putting these here because you have other signs in the same locations. Directing people to, I forget what they are,
Yeah,
but
they're
directing
also-
people south. And so these signs would be directing people north to, let's see what it says. Tractor Supply, Dollar Tree, USA Fitness, and Carver Appliance. And it also does meet your dimensional standards.
Just one problem, the height on that sign has to be changed. I got 7 feet to the top, it needs to be 7 feet to the bottom, for NECD standards.
Okay, yes, yes.
All right, so this is allowed, this is an allowable use.
Yeah, your sign bylaw does allow off-premises signs for directional purposes.
Any other comments?
You said there was an existing sign,
For other businesses.
so this is gonna be next to it, or?
No, it won't be next to it because of the way the ramps are, designed. So if you're coming off of 44 and you want to go south, you're split from the northbound traffic.
The other ones are
So
in the island, aren't they?
yes, the other ones are in the
They're gonna be
island.
off to the shoulder and across the street on this one.
Yes, because you have to be in the north, you have to be in the lane that's going to turn you northbound onto 58 at the ramps in order to see the sign properly. So they won't be in the same location. So so the top one, exit from US 44 East. So the other signs are here because they're directing you south. And these signs will be here to direct you north across the street,
So where's like New England Farms in relationship to this?
right here,
That's right there,
yeah, up here.
where the arrow kind of.
Well, here, you can barely catch Montello Street here.
Yeah, you catch the parking lot over here for Dunkin' Donuts.
Okay.
Yeah,
I don't know, one of the things that we talked about before was when you allow one sign like this and then others keep going and then you have that's my only concern is,
yeah. The other, I mean, they are clustered where the visibility makes sense to do that. But because everything else is pointing south there, I would say in the future, if anything else is pointing north, they should definitely be located in the same
Or
place.
piggyback on it.
What's that?
Or piggyback on it.
Yeah, yeah.
So how would you do that? Put it
You just put
at
a
the
big
bottom
post.
or at the top?
Well, no, you
or-
put a taller post and a
Yeah.
bolt underneath it.
Oh, okay, yeah,
They're just proposing a U-channel post.
Yeah.
okay. All right.
And one 12-foot pole, I mean, you can get 3 signs on there.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually more 4. They still maintain your safe height.
All right. If there's no other questions or comments?
So the sign company is coming before us on behalf of these 4 people, these 4 merchants?
So the application is actually by Waterstone Retail. So the landlord is applying to you for their tenants.
Oh, because I didn't know the Tractor Supply, I know it's in there, but I didn't know if it was all, okay,
Yeah.
sure. All right.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
Motion to approve with a change for the minimum height 7 feet to the bottom of the sign instead of the top.
Yep.
second that?
So a motion and a second, those in favor? Aye.
There's the original.
Okay, other business, planning board, members' notes. Does anybody have anything they would like to say this evening?
It's good to see everybody again. This was like 6 months ago.
It's good to see everybody, and especially good to see Chad.
That's right.
That's good to see you back. There is one thing I'd like to say. We still have monies from the housing partnership available for people that may be having problems paying their mortgages. And I heard on the radio that there's still a lot of people on the verge of losing their houses, and so I thought just might mention this again, that if we do still have that money available, that if anybody does have any problems not being able to pay their mortgage, they could get in touch with Marlene, and Marlene will get in touch with the person that still handles this. And you do have to meet certain conditions, but we have saved about 6 or 7 people from losing their homes the last year or two, and we still have that money available. So if anybody's having any problems, please give Marlene a call at the planning office, and she'll get you in touch with the person to discuss if you're eligible for this program. All right, how about we got to have the minutes of October 11th, 2016. And see, was Chad here? So it was just.
I wasn't here either.
It would be
Oh,
just
so
you
we
and I.
so we
Oh,
can't.
yeah, so
we
let's
don't
table
have-
those.
Yeah, we're gonna have to table that. Correspondence.
So I just want you to, I put a copy of an inspection report for the townhomes on Main Street, 67 Main Street. Just for your information, I'm not asking you to do anything or take any action. The items have been brought to the owner's attention and her contractor's attention, so just so you know what's going on.
So this is all being taken care of?
Yep.
Okay. Is there anything else?
No, that was it.
All right, and our next meeting will be November 29th.
Yes.
Okay.
Motion to adjourn?
Second?
Motion and second, those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, and good night, everyone.